If we never challenge our shortcomings, we ensure that they remain our Achilles heel. Gina Greenlee.
Check it out one time.
What's poppin', girls? You've just tuned in to season 2 of Broken Women Win podcast, discovering purpose in Christ beyond our ramshackle past. I am none other than your hope dealer, Ashley Leanne, coming to snatch you out of the trenches of despair. So, sit back, relax, grab a snack, get your Bibles, notepads, and something to drink, because, honey, we've got a lot to discuss.
Check it out one time.
What's poppin', good people? Happy November. Today is November the 3rd, 2019, and this is episode number 22. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you to my old subscribers, to my new subscribers. Y'all, I'm so excited about this episode. I'm not going to do much talking because, hey, you know, I have somebody that I interviewed. We have Mr. Danai Young, yes, of Talk Heavy Nay, or you can say Speak Heavy Nay, either one of them. You know, you type in the hashtag on Instagram, then he's going to pop up. But yeah, he dropped so many jewels, so much good wisdom, so much godly insight. And I just wanted to just have him on the podcast. I shot him a message on Facebook and was like, hey, will you be a guest on the podcast? I would love to have you there. And he gave me an instant yes. So without further ado, I'm not going to keep chatting away. Okay. I'll record later to tell y'all about me and what I've been going, you know, what's been going on with me and Jorge and all this other stuff with the lack thereof, honey, because you know how that goes with me. But anywho, without further ado, here is our interview with me, your host, Ashley Leanne, and Mr. Danai Young. Enjoy. Bye-bye. But yeah, I'm so excited. I have Mr. Young on the line tonight. Yes, I do. And he is going to introduce himself. I'm not going to be chatty Cathy tonight because my folks know that I can talk. I like to talk. I used to get in trouble for talking when I was younger. So without further ado, I will let Mr. Young introduce himself. He can go ahead and introduce himself. Then we'll get into, you know, how we connected and what's his favorite podcast episode. But yeah, tell the people who you are.
All right. Blessings to everyone who is joining us. My name is Danai Young. I go by Speak Nay, Talk Heavy Nay, but for the most part, it's just Nay. I am a published author. I'm a motivational speaker. I am a relationship counselor, and
Yes.
I love God. I'm a father of a 10-year-old, amazing young kid, retired professional basketball player, college graduate from the University of Nebraska, psychology and sociology degree. And, hey, I'm here. I don't want to talk too much.
No, that's what we want. That's okay. That's what we want. We want you to talk. And you look real good on paper. That's good. But at the end of the day, he said that he loves God. And that matters more than anything, that he loves God. So I wanted to have him on the podcast because I've been following him for a while. I have no idea how we even connected. He doesn't know. I don't know. We both think it was on Facebook. But don't know how we connected, but his page has really been a blessing. And I told him when we talked a couple of nights ago that he reminded me so much of myself. I'm like, hey, this is almost like the dude version of me. I'm like, I got to have him on the podcast. And I knew, you know, my listeners was going to be so excited, you know, because whenever I bring people on, I get a lot of messages and they're like, yes, that's exactly what we needed. So before we get into the meat of everything, y'all know I always ask everybody to describe our connection or friendship with one word. So what would you say, Mr. Young?
One word.
Mm-hmm.
Our connection.
Mm-hmm.
Blessing.
Look at God. That's nice. I like that. I don't think anybody said blessing yet. No, they haven't. Yeah, they haven't. And so, what's your favorite episode on the podcast?
Oh man, I mean, there's just so many, and before I even get into that, well, I'm just gonna piggyback on that question.
Okay.
I'm just truly happy for you, first and foremost.
Oh,
I think
thank
it's
you.
an amazing job. I think that you are walking into your purpose, and with the podcast and each subject is touching somebody. You know, we always worry about who we're touching and who's listening.
Right.
But one thing for sure, and two things for certain, is that you're reaching someone. So I'm not even going to say I have a favorite. I'm just going to tell you that the podcast is a blessing, and I'm so happy that you're walking in your purpose.
Thank you, darling. Thank you. And that means a lot. And they know that I always say that if I can just help one person, if it's just one person, I'm not in it for the numbers. You know, if it's just one person I can help along the way, that's what matters to me, because I don't want my pain to be wasted, you know, and I want what I've experienced and what I've gone through and what God has delivered me from to really be a blessing to somebody else. You know, if I can keep you from going down a direction or going down a road that I've gone down and I know it's going to be destruction, or I know it's going to be havoc, you know, I know it's going to cause you some problems, you know, I would want to be the one to tell you that. And I often tell them, you know, hey, who would you want to describe, you know, something to you that you've never had before, or something that you're about to walk into that could be detrimental? If I ask you what a strawberry tastes like, I don't want somebody that has not had a strawberry to try to describe to me what a strawberry tastes like. You know what I'm saying? So I want you to be able to walk through it. And I tell them all the time, I can't lead you where I haven't been, and I can't teach or either minister on a subject and I've never been through whatever it is I'm trying to minister to, because I feel like I won't be effective. So yeah, hey, I just say, God, I don't know nothing about podcasting at all. They know the story. You know the story I've told you. I don't know nothing about podcasting, but if this is the way you want me to reach your people, you know, if this is the way you want, you know, salvation to be brought into, you know, their lives, then so be it. So yeah, that's just how Ashley feels about that. But yes, that made me feel so special. Thank you, darling. That made me feel special. So yeah, so tell us about you and your brand, what you represent, and what you do.
So basically, a heavy name, big name, is a brand that is what I've been through. It's both. My brand is speaks the truth. It speaks to purpose. It speaks to whatever you've gone through.
Right.
Whatever you've gone through, go through it. Ain't no shortcuts in life. My brand is the absolute truth. Everything I speak, everything I do, I speak it out of love and truth. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. I'm always going to keep it 100, no matter what. Even if, and the thing about that is, everybody's not ready for the truth.
Yes.
We always say, be honest with me, tell me the truth. And then when they hear it, they're either mad at you or they don't believe you. Well,
yeah, that's the truth. That's the truth. I heard one person say, I think it was Pastor Adrian Davis. I heard him say, the gospel is for everybody, but my delivery is not. So, you know, even in that, sometimes people will say, like you said, they'll say, hey, tell me, you know, I want to know, keep it 100, you know, be real with me. And when you're real with them, it's an issue. It's a problem, because people want you to sugarcoat the truth. They don't want you to, they really don't want to know what the truth is and right from wrong, because to be honest with you, people are comfortable in their sins. And that's one thing that really drew me to your page. I'm like, okay, now this is sounding a lot like the kind of talk that I like to hear, you know, because it was just raw. And I tell them on here, I keep it hot, I keep it honest, open, and transparent. And when we were talking the other night, you know, you were like, hey, it's nothing that's off limits. You know, we can talk about whatever. It doesn't matter to me. And I'm like, yes, he gonna keep it all the way 100. And I appreciate that.
And I truly believe that we have to. But that's why I say talk heavy, because when we talk, sometimes the truth, it weighs heavy on us sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
But if you want to be transparent and keep it real with yourself, you lift that truth up off you. You lift it up off you. And regardless of what people may say or what people may think, it's your truth.
Right.
And once you realize that it's your truth, and can't nobody take that away from you, can't nobody turn the story around or anything like that, you don't care about what people think, it ain't as heavy anymore.
Yes, yes. And there's something so freeing in that, too.
Yeah, but while I'm in it, I'm going to lift it as much as I can. So the brand is just about being transparent, being truthful with yourself, and living in your purpose, loving yourself unconditionally, having unconditional peace in your heart and in your life.
Yes.
Ain't no wasted time because we don't know what tomorrow may bring.
That's the truth.
So I ain't gonna waste no time. I ain't gonna waste no minutes, time, seconds, time, or anything, because I don't know what tomorrow may bring.
Right. And it's something about, people that have gone through things. It's like I was telling a friend of mine, actually she's a cousin, I was talking to her, headed to work one morning, and I told her, I said, you know what? I said, people that have really been through a lot, they love differently. They minister differently. They care about the broken in a different way than people who have never, encountered any kind of issues at all. So it's like the more God delivers you from, the more you want to share that, and the more you want to, and you do it with love and compassion, but at the same time, you just have like a righteous indignation, and you don't play with the enemy at all, because we see the enemy from afar. When you've been delivered, you can really see the enemy from afar. And so it's like the generation that we live in right now, it's all about, people talk about God and they talk about the universe and all this other stuff. I don't know nothing about that. I know about Jesus, God, they can call it whatever they want to call it. But, nobody really wants to just recognize and say, hey, whatever this right here that's going on, it's the enemy at work. Nobody wants to say that, maybe I shouldn't have went in this direction, or maybe this is happening in my life because I did not listen to, the word of the Lord. I did not go in the direction that I know God was taking me in. And that's kind of segues me into the next question, which is, what was home life like growing up for you? Because I know a lot of times, like with me, I was brought up in the church. So I've been in the church my whole life. Matter of fact, I was in the church before the church was in me. Because when my mama was pregnant, she was carrying me to church then, but that doesn't mean that I didn't stray. That doesn't mean that, I didn't have my struggles and stuff that I dealt with and dabbled in, because I did. I surely did. And I thoroughly enjoyed it all. I did until, the Lord really convicted me. And he said, hey, this is not what I have called you to. And, your story is different from mine. So tell them about home life and what was it like growing up for you?
Oh, man. Home life for me was hard. It was tough. My mother had me when she was 14, and it was just a lot of time with my grandparents, while my mother was kind of doing her thing. It was kind of a home life. It was my father wasn't involved. Like, I knew who my father was, but he came around every once in a while and all of that. Like, we didn't have a relationship at all. But home life was hard for the most part, but it was so loving. It was hard because of the family dynamic and just the struggle. But there was so much love in my home. You know what I'm saying? Like, my mother was my best friend. She was the strongest woman I've ever known besides my grandmother. We prayed all the time. She just was very, very loving. And as a mother, she did what she had to do to make sure that her children were taken care of. Like, so I don't really have a whole lot of bad memories as far as just my home life. But at the age of 9, I witnessed my mother being murdered. at the
Wow.
age of 9. So I witnessed my mother being murdered, and I laid. She was shot a few times, and I laid with the body for. I laid in her body for 3 hours before the ambulance. Actually, my uncle in the ambulance actually got there. You know, um, for me, it was surreal. My mom was a. I really feel like my mom was an angel because she was murdered by accident. She was murdered by trying to save two other people from killing each other.
Wow.
And as I sat on the couch and I witnessed it all, at 9 years old, I understood because where I'm from, you know, what I've seen is in the streets, you know, what I've seen other family members do. So I understood what was going on, and losing my mother at that age changed my life up until now. Up until now that I'm 40, it still has a real effect on me and why my heart is the way it is and why I am the man I am today. So all right for me, I said it was rough because every family struggles, but it's unconditional love. Unconditional love. My mother loved me with all her heart, and she made sure that we knew who God was.
And that's a blessing that you can actually look back and say, hey, yeah, my mom is the one who introduced me to Christ. Yeah, that's awesome, and I'm so sorry. Like I told you before when we were talking earlier, you told me what happened with your mom. I was just like, man, how in the world? That's nobody but God. Like, how can you even continue to just do and be who you are? Without Christ, you can't. So we know that it's God that has kept you this far. Right. We know it's God that's kept you this far. So was that a turning point, or, what was the point where you really, truly just yielded yourself to Christ? I know parts of the story, but they don't. So what were some things that you went through that actually drew you in and say, okay, this is it right here. God, I surrender.
I want to say, well, I know exactly when it was. Probably about 11, 12 years ago, I was playing toe ball, and I was just wilding out. Like, as a young man, I was just wilding out, hanging out with the wrong people, with the wrong crowd, and just didn't really care too much about life. Like, I knew who God was, but I blamed God for a lot of the things that happened, especially the passing of my mother. So I was going back and forth, fighting with God, still asking him why, still asking him, is this the life you have for me? Not really seeing the blessings that he had already put in my life, but really blaming him. And I was too busy trying to play God. So
that's good.
So one night, I was laying in bed, I was just feeling some type of way, and I was just talking to God, like, listen, I'm ready, God, like, I'm ready to give you life. I apologize to him because he needs to be ignorant, and I get a phone call, and it's one of my boys. He was like, hey, man, come to the club. And man, I really don't feel like coming to the club, man. Like, I'm good on that, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And he said, man, no, come on. So I get up, I go on for clothes real quick, and I go to the club. Back in this time, I would always carry a gun, no matter where I went, because like I said, I was just living a different lifestyle.
Right.
I would carry a gun, I went, whatever. So I get to the club, I'm really not feeling it. I'm like, man, oh my God, man, I'm about to go to the house. So I go to the house. Now, I've never done this ever in my life. So I forgot to take my gun with me. I've never, in a 10-year span, I never ever forgot to take my gun with me. This night, I forgot to take my gun with me. As I'm pulling into my driveway, I never ever drove straight in the driveway with my back towards the garage, because if anybody ever tried to rob me or something, I could see them coming in because I'm back in the garage.
Right.
So I straight into the garage. I get out, I slam the door. As soon as I slam the door, 3 guys run up behind me. One has a sawed-off shotgun, the other 2 got handguns, and they talking about, hey, give it up.
Oh my gosh.
With the guns in my face and everything. So they go into my pockets, they get the money out my pockets, snatch the chains off my neck, all that. And I'm like, hey, y'all can have it all. Like this, it is what it is. Like, things where the safe at. When they said what the safe at, I knew it was the people that I knew because they would be the only ones that know that I had a safe in my house. But they didn't know I moved the safe every 2 to 3 days somewhere else. Only time I had a safe in my house was when I did money count. So they asked me what a safe at. I'm like, yo, like, y'all know me. This is what I'm saying. So after I say you know me, I get hit in the face with the gun. Breaks my nose. One guy said, hey, take him to the basement. The other 2 stayed up there. When he said take him to the basement, in my mind, I'm saying, they're going to kill me. This is it, So I'm preparing myself for whatever happens from here. So down in the basement, I have no idea why the guy that took me to the basement did what he did, but what he did was he took me down there, he opened the screen door down in the basement, and he's looking in my jewelry box, he's grabbing jewelry and all that. So I said in my head, I said, if I'm gonna survive, I got one shot at this, and I can't win. That's just what I'm thinking in my head. So he goes to reach for some jewelry, and he kind of stumbles. So I hit him in the back of his head, and I just jumped out the screen door.
Wow.
So I jump out the screen door. I run around where the front gate is, and the front door is like maybe 10 to 15 feet away from the front of the gate. So as I'm running out the gate, they running out the house and they shoot down. I end up getting shot 5 times, and they chased me about 2 blocks, and they couldn't catch me. And I made it to a friend's house, knocked on my friend's door. I don't even know I'm bleeding, but I'm really hot. So I fall inside my friend's house, and 2 months later, I wake up in the hospital. I was in a coma for 2 months because I lost so much blood.
For 2 months.
And the only people that were there at the hospital was my grandparents.
Wow. That was nobody but the grace of God.
Yeah, and that whole 2 months, my grandparents stayed at the hospital. They prayed over me and all of that. And it's so crazy because as I'm in a coma, but now that when I woke up and I was thinking about it, I can hear everything my grandmother was saying. Like, I was able to tell her what she was saying to me as I was in the coma.
Wow.
And she was just, and everything she was talking about how had God associated with it, like, bring my grandson out of this. Like, God, I know you got something for him. I know there's something that you want him to do in his life. I don't want to lose him. I already lost his mother. These are things that she's talking to God about as she's holding my hand as I'm in coma. So came out of that coma and really just put God first in my life.
Wow. So when you first woke up, do you remember waking up, like when you first woke up from the coma?
Yeah, when I first woke up, my grandma they was just at all, because they really didn't think I was going to wake up. I had lost so much blood, they didn't think I was going to wake up. They said my heart had stopped 3-4 times. I had 2-3 seizures, and I don't remember any of that.
Wow, that's, and I know my listeners are like, whoa, yeah, you have a story. That is nobody but the Lord. So later years, so after that, I know you said that you began to really cultivate a relationship with Christ. So when did you step into the whole, talk heavy situation? When did you step into, okay, let me get back, let me begin to, you know, put legs to what God has called me to do?
Like I was still okay. I was, even though I wanted, I said, oh, I'm God first in my life. I'm still a man though.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So I got one foot in and one foot out when it came to God. Yeah, God, please help me do this, but I'm still gonna do what I want to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, God, I know I asked you for this, but this looks better to me, so I'm gonna do this. You know what I'm saying? And it really, I can remember somebody asking me, and this what really made me change. I can remember someone asking me, have I ever seen a black woman happy? Like, have you ever seen a black woman happy ever? And I couldn't. I said the only black woman that I've ever seen happy was my grandmother. That's it. Like,
wow.
I'm 30. At this time, I'm 36, 37 years old. And I'm like, dang, I've never, including my mother. My mother went through it. My aunties went through it. All the women that I know went through it. I myself have put women through it. And then they said, what would you do? What was the first thing you do? What was the first thing you tell your daughter about dating?
Mm-hmm.
And I told her, and I told that person I didn't know. At that time, I didn't know because I was so toxic for women.
Right.
And I had seen all the toxic things being done to women, or done to my mom, done to my auntie, done to cousins and friends. I'm like, I don't know what I would tell her.
But that was so honest, though, for you to say that you didn't know. I don't know what I would tell her because, a lot of men that, be out here doing stuff they don't have no business be doing, be tipping and sliding and, have 10, 15 different women. They try to tell other people how to date and what to do. And it's like, how can you? Because to be honest with you, you're not even seeing through a lens clearly yourself. So the fact that you could even acknowledge within yourself that you were toxic, like, hey, I don't know what I would tell her because I'm contributing to pain to some women now. So the fact that you even were able to say that, I think when you're really honest and you can just pour yourself out, not like God doesn't know. Yes, he knows anyway. God knows. But the fact that you could just come and say, listen, I don't know, Lord. I can't, I don't know how to do this right here because I'm stuck in it. And this is the part that people don't like to say. They'll say, I'm stuck in it and I want out. Well, with me, it was, God, I need you to help me with my sin and, my secret struggles because I'm stuck in it and I like it. And it's like, how do I get past the whole liking thing? And I was trying so hard to be quote unquote right. And God just had to just show me, listen, it's about relationship. It's not about religion. I don't go out here and do certain stuff just because, well, you're not supposed to do that. The Bible says you're not supposed to do that. No, you don't transgress against the one that you love. So when you really, really, truly have a relationship with Christ and you really love him and you grow to really just know who the character of God is, you'll say, you know what? I don't want to do this because it hurts the one who loves me and it hurts the one that I love. Not just because, I don't want to do it just because it's wrong. It's a difference between that. So the fact that you could say, hey, look, I'm jacked up. I'm out here hurting these women. And to be honest with you, I'm not even the type of man that I would want my own daughter to date. I think that's when healing can really begin to take place.
And that was the thing. Like, to be real and be honest, I've only been in 3 relationships my entire life, 3 serious relationships my entire life. You know what I'm saying? And it took me until my divorce
Mm-hmm.
You know, that I really had to sit back and was like, man, like, I knew what a husband was, but I didn't know how to be one.
Mm-hmm.
I had an amazing wife, but I was a terrible husband. I was a toxic man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I've been divorced now, you know, for 4.5 years now. And through that time, I was so toxic. I was unfaithful. I was a liar. I didn't protect her heart. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And I went to God. I said, God, whatever you got for me, I'm ready for it. Whatever it is, I'm not going to fight you no more.
Mm-hmm.
And when I tell you what he had for me, I wasn't prepared for it. Because I've always been a writer. I've always been a speaker, but not on the level where I'm talking to people about relationships, and I couldn't keep a relationship intact.
Right. But God is funny. Isn't that weird though? It's like it's so funny how the very thing that you struggle with is the thing that he calls you to.
Yes. And I called my grandmother and I'm like, Grandma, I want to talk to you. And you know what she said? She said, I know. I've been waiting on you to call me. She said, because you asked God for something and you're not prepared for it. But God is going to prepare you for it. Because it's your due season. She said, you are in your due season. And I said, what I want to talk, what is that want to talk to you about? She's like, I want to talk to you. You want to talk to me about your husband? And I said, God, like, what, you working too fast.
Right.
Because my grandmother knows what I want to talk to her about before I even talk to her.
Mm-hmm.
And ever since that talk 4 years ago, I've been the man that I've become, and it's been a blessing. It's been awesome. It's been amazing. I'm so much happier in my life because I'm helping not only myself, but I'm helping others. And I'm just honest with it. Like, I don't care about throwing myself under the bus. People are so afraid to throw themselves under the bus or hang themselves off because of what somebody may say about them. Listen, you can bring up my past. Yeah, that's who I used to be.
Right. And see, and I always say, can't nobody tell it like me. You can't tell my story like me.
At all.
You can't tell it like me.
The thing about it is I'm honest about my story. So that's what gets you. Because you ready to catch me in a lie.
Right.
When I tell people the truth, they ain't got nothing to say.
Nope, they don't. They don't know what to say. Honestly, they really don't. You know, and when I know how it is. I know how it is to be extremely transparent because I'm very transparent, okay? And when I'm around certain people, it just makes them cringe because I am so transparent. So it's like, don't ask me a question if you really do not want to know the answer, because I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm going to tell you the truth. Don't ask if you don't want to know. And then too, I always fall back on the scripture that says, you know, and they overcame him, the enemy, by the blood of the Lamb and the word of their testimony. So I'm not going to be bound because I'm quiet and I'm worried about what you're going to think about what I'm going through. I refuse to. And even in this situation that I got going on, you know, I'm going through another divorce. So even in this, I was like, God, how can I, you know, minister? How can I tell anybody? This is so embarrassing. I'm so hurt. You know, I don't know what to do. This was my third marriage. I didn't think that I was going to have to do this again. You know, divorce was never, you know, an option for me. I wanted to fight through it. And the Lord simply told me, he said, listen, your healing is not going to come until you open your mouth and you tell your story and you tell people how I was the one who brought you through. And when I posted that episode back in September, I think it was like September the 15th when I posted that episode, I have gotten a slew of messages on Instagram, on Facebook. People have been emailing me. Oh my God, thank you so much for your transparency. I'm going through the same thing. My sister's going through the same thing. My cousin's going through the same thing. So you just never know, how many people, you will reach with your testimony. And I believe that every person has a certain amount of souls that are attached to them, and so what God has delivered us from is not for us to keep quiet. It's not for you to take it, and put it in your pocket. Like my nana used to say, she said, you can't hide your light under a bushel. That's not why God delivered you. He delivered you so you can go out and tell other people. Yes, it's a certain sector of people that I'm called to. I'm not called to everybody. The gospel is for everybody, but my delivery is not. And it's just like with you. Everybody's not going to like how raw and how transparent you are. Because they're going to want you to, sugarcoat some stuff. They want you to cover up some things. They don't want you to be that raw. But being that raw is going to bring you exactly to the place that God has called you to.
And you have to be the authentic you. So when I write, when I publish a picture, and I write and I'm talking about my queen, or I'm talking about, like, these are things, this is who I am.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is the man that God has transformed me into.
Mm-hmm.
So you can say it's funny, you can say it's lame, you can say, oh, I don't believe that, or you can say whatever you want to say, but it's who I am.
Mm-hmm.
The actions speak not words, but when God sends me my queen, I can show you better than I can tell you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can.
Because I tell men all the time, if you cannot be faithful to God, you cannot be faithful to your woman.
That's a fact. That is a fact. And we were talking about that the other night, and how if you're not faithful to yourself, too, you ain't going to be faithful to God and nobody else either. That is so true.
Yeah. So many people are cheating on themselves and trying to be faithful. It's impossible.
Why do you think with men, why do you think it takes like catastrophic events to happen in a man's life to really just, not all of them, but most of them, why do you think it takes like a catastrophic event to bring them to a point where they're like, man, I'm jacked up. I messed up. That was the best thing that I ever had, at that moment, what I thought, so what am I supposed to do and how am I supposed to move forward? Because I do believe that there are some people that God has just, ordained you to be with, or ordained connections, for you in that individual, whether it be a friendship, a business partnership, a romantic relationship or whatever. And I do believe that sometimes, you can kind of jack yourself up, especially when you pray, how we were talking and saying, hey, people say all the time, I want a woman of God. Because I hear this all the time from a lot of men. They say, I want a woman of God. I bet you do. Yeah, I want a woman of God. I want a woman that loves the Lord. But then when you show that you have standards, and when you show that, no, I really do have a relationship with the Lord, this is not just lip service. When they see, okay, this is a lifestyle for me, this is not something that's just cute for Instagram and Facebook, then it begins to be a problem. You know what I'm saying? Then it's like, oh, well, I wanted you to be saved, but I didn't want you to be that saved. So it's almost like, hey, I want a woman that loves God, but still do worldly things, and still do what the world does. So I don't understand why it takes a huge catastrophe to happen in order for them to really be able to see themselves.
It's a reality check.
Okay.
You see, so many men take the most precious thing for granted. Ego, pride, selfishness, love with conditions. I love you if you can do this for me. Yeah, you fine, but I don't care nothing about what your heart looks like. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's always a condition. Like, most men grew up in homes where their mother was disrespected by men. So, like, they've never seen women happy So they develop this toxic trait, whether it's physical, whether it's emotional, financial, spiritual, all of that.
You're right.
I see so many men, and not all, I see so many men will get on, will dog their woman out, treat her like trash. She be ready to leave down and knees crying.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Don't leave me. You're the best thing that ever happened to me. But guess what? In reality, he has no ability to change.
No ability.
Because he knows that woman loves him more than he loves herself. So she ain't going nowhere.
And so talking about that, so what do you think are some common mistakes that you see women make, either in new relationships or, you know, in a relationship that could potentially be something, you know, deeper than what it is? What do you see? What have you seen happen, you know, from your point of view?
What they want, what they need. Period.
That's deep. What they want and what they need.
Like, you'll ask God to send you a husband. But if the package does not come how you want it to come, you return back to sender, and you'll go and choose what you want when you know it ain't good for you.
That's kind of like when women will say, yo, he's sweet, but he's too nice. He's too nice.
Yeah, and then you'll complain to God about it when it doesn't go your way. So what you want and what you need. Most women don't ask questions. Oh, he look good, so you know, I'm gonna take a chance on that.
And I hate it for him. I don't know why they do that.
He got money in his pocket. He's a provider, but he may not be able to love me right.
Right. And see, and one of my problems is I have a problem with you know, feeling like maybe I'm asking too many questions. I mean, because I don't just, you know, just roll them off like we're in a job interview. But, you know, it's certain stuff that I need to know. I need to know. And one thing that's really important to me, and I asked my soon-to-be ex-husband this, because, you know, it was just want to tell me all the good things. And that's cool, and I told him, I said, I understand, you know, everything you're saying that's good. Everything you're telling me is good, but what's wrong with you? No, like, what's wrong? Because there's something that's wrong with everybody. Are you jealous? You know, what's wrong with you? I don't need you to tell me what's right with you. I want you to tell me what's wrong with you. Okay, because I want to know, what am I really getting myself into? And I don't want to get into it and then you turn out to be freaking Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
And most men are afraid to tell a woman like what they've really been through. What has affected them as a child? What has affected them as a young man? Whether it's, you know, sexual harassment, whether it's, you know, you got beaten when you were small,
or molested,
anything. You know what I'm saying? Like, we've all been through something. And so many men are so embarrassed to tell their truth, afraid of what somebody may think of them. But what they don't understand, if she thinks anything negative about your situation, that she's not the woman that God has for you.
She is not, honey. She is not the one. Because a real woman won't mind. Because, hey, she's got a past too.
She wants to know.
Yes.
That's just like a man. Like, with the woman that God sends in my life, I want to know her life top to bottom. I don't care what her past looks like. I don't care how many men she's been with. Tell me how I can help you be a better you. Tell me how I can lift you up. That's what I'm saying. If you ain't never felt unconditional love, get ready to feel it. I'm going to show you. You know what I'm saying? I'm not worried about what your past look like. people so wrapped up in their past, they don't know how to get to the next day.
Right, and then they don't have sticking power either. They don't have sticking and staying power. They see one little, hurdle of something, and they're gone. They're gone. I don't even know why people even take vows, because sometimes I feel like it should just be promises. Right, you do. You're right.
You got to know when you get to it. Marriage doesn't solve cheating.
At all.
Sex doesn't solve cheating.
No, it
I
doesn't.
don't care. You see these fine, beautiful women all over the place. And I ask people all the time. There's a reason why they still single.
Mm-hmm.
She can have any man she wants. Yeah, she's still single. She get treated like a lot of the women out here. Getting beat on, getting cheated on. It's what your heart looks like.
Mm-hmm.
But he ain't a man, he's a man. You can't turn a boy into a man. And age doesn't define that.
Oh, no, it don't. And that is the truth. It does not.
You did man already. No.
Mm-mm. And and that was one of my mistakes, with my last marriage. I honestly thought that, maturity came with age, because he was almost 50 years old. And no, it absolutely did not at all. He did the unthinkable and the detestable. I mean, I dated, was married. My other 2 husbands before that, we went through stuff, true enough, but nothing to this extent right here. And I'm like, dude, you supposed to be older. But, age does not determine maturity. And that was a hard lesson.
I didn't become a man until I was 35.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for real. I didn't become a man until I was 35. I didn't become a man until I asked God to make me better. Yes. Because I know I couldn't do it by myself.
And you were honest about really wanting to be better for real, for real. You weren't saying God made me better just, so somebody can hear you say God made me better. No, you really meant God make me better. And whatever it is you got to pluck up out of me, pluck it out. Because I want to serve you. You got to be real and authentic, and truthful about really wanting to be delivered. Because if you're not, then it's not going to happen.
And what you going to give up? This is what I heard God say. You want to change. You want to become a man, right? What you going to give up?
Oh.
You got to give up.
Oh.
What you going to give up?
And that's so crazy, because now you all in my field now, because the Lord just told me concerning a certain situation on Sunday. He said, you want something from me? He just told me this on Sunday while I was sitting in church, in my parents' church. He said, you want something from me? He said, what you going to give me? Give me what I want, then I'll give you what you want, which I know exactly what that is. He said, give me what I want, what I've been requiring of you. Okay. And I'll give you what you want. So I get it. I completely understand that part.
And it was almost like I knew exactly what he was talking about. What you gonna give me? So and the way I talk to God like he's one of the homeboys. Yeah. Like, for real. Like, I'll get in my bed, or I'll have a conversation with him. What you gonna give up? You gonna give up sex? You gonna give up alcohol? Them the two most important things that you gonna give up. You gonna give up sex? You gonna give up alcohol?
But you know what? But when you desperate, you don't even care. You don't care what you got to give up.
Oh, and what I didn't understand is when I gave it up, my body felt better. Yeah. My thinking became better. My body felt better.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been 4.5 years now.
Wow.
Okay.
And kudos to you. I take my hat off to you, honey. Kudos to you. And we hear all the time, women that say that they are abstaining. But you don't hear many men. It's few and far in between. You don't hear many men that really say, hey, no, I'm not. That's not what I'm doing. And then if they do say it, most men be like, oh, they do this, they doing it, they doing something. But no, I do believe that there's a remnant of men that just love the Lord and say, God, I'm going to do what you called me to do.
And let's not get it twisted. It wasn't easy. Because if it was easy, everybody be doing it.
Okay.
know what I'm saying? It wasn't easy, but it was worth it.
Yeah. Yeah. And so you talked about your downfalls in your previous relationship, which was, you mentioned, you said that it was some unfaithfulness and that you were lying and cheating, and all of that. So, going into, where you are now, is there somebody special that you're dating now, or, who is the special woman in your life that motivates you, or is that your grandmother?
Um, my motivator is my grandmother, my baby sister. There's no special lady in my life right now. God is taking his time. I'm telling him to hurry up, though. But, no, at the moment, not at all.
So what can we expect from Talk Heavy in the next coming months?
In the next coming months, January, we're going to start the Talk Heavy podcast.
Yes, I'm so excited.
With myself and my brother Carry-On. Got another podcast called Tea with Tiff with my amazing friend. And then my morning coffee podcast. So I'm gonna have 3 podcasts going on all at the same time.
Honey, you gonna be busy.
Absolutely. I plan on being busy. I plan on touching as many hearts and souls as I can. I plan on praying for people and just loving people the right way. Showing people that no matter what you do, that if you love yourself unconditionally, it will weed out the things that you don't need in your life. Like, women, if you ain't heard anything I said tonight, and this is strictly for the queens.
Yes, talk to them.
Listen, get back to loving yourself. Get back to loving yourself. Get back to asking God what it is that you need to be doing.
Yes.
Right now, some of y'all are with some men that are holding you back from the purpose that God has for your life. You are so in love with this man that you walk up with him, and this man has done nothing but give you a headache. He brought nothing but hell in your life when love is supposed to feel like heaven.
Talk heavy, honey.
Listen, stop selling yourself short. You deserve everything that God has for you. You deserve a man that's going to look your feet, rub your back, love you the correct way, run your bath water, cook you dinner, pay your bills. You deserve a man that's going to love you unconditionally.
Yes.
And when I'm talking about bills, I'm not just talking about money. I'm talking about providing you with protection, providing you with affection. See, most of you women think making love is about intercourse, but making love to be as simple as having a conversation.
Yes.
You need to get back to loving yourself and knowing exactly what it is you deserve in your life. Because I don't care where you've been, where you come from. You deserve unconditional love. You deserve a man that's going to love you unconditionally. So stop asking God to send you a man unless you're going to take him up on his offer. The package may not come the way you want it to look, but the blessing is going to be all that it can be. I'm telling you.
That is
y'all
so
deserve
good.
It. Y'all are God's most queen. You are God's most precious creation. Without you, there would be no us.
Wow. And this is something that they needed to hear. Absolutely. That they needed to hear. Wow. I know some of them probably crying. I know a few of them that's crybabies. So I'm pretty sure they sitting over there drying and sliding like, girl, where you find this man at, girl? Yes, thank you so much. Oh my gosh. This was we're gonna have to do a part 2 to this. We're gonna have to do a part 2. But before we go, I always pray with him. You've already, done the word of encouragement. You just spoke life into him. And that's what, that's one thing that we miss, from our men, is the whole speaking life. But I had to come to the realization that, hey, a man can't speak life into you if life hadn't been spoken into him and if he don't know the life giver. So how can he speak life? So we just have to get to a point to where you're like, okay, God, whatever you're doing in my life, whatever you want to do in my life, I'm open to it. And I don't want to rush you, but whenever it's your timing is what I want. So can you close us out in prayer?
Absolutely, I can. Put me on the spot. All right, here we go. God, I come to you, Jesus. Just to say thank you.
Yes, Lord.
Just to say thank you for all that you've done, all that you've given us, and all that you're going to do in our future. Whatever you have for us, we are ready. We are prepared to grasp on the blessings that you have for our life. We know that sometimes we don't deserve it.
Yes, Lord.
But who you are a forgiving God. We know people ain't as forgiving, but we know you, God, no matter what we've done, no matter what we say. All we got to do is come to you, Lord,
yes,
and ask for forgiveness. So I ask that you continue to put us in position to love you even more each day.
Yes, God.
Thank you so much for Queen Ashley. Thank you so much to the queens and kings that are tuning in, because our podcast is powerful. And it's because of you who's given her this platform to not only help and heal herself, but to help and heal others.
Yes, God.
I just want to thank you, Lord.
Thank you, Lord.
Thank you for all that you're doing, all that you've done. And thank you for loving us unconditionally. Amen.
Amen. Amen. So also, before you go, give the people your social media handles. Let them know where they can find you. You also have a book. Let them know where they can find the book. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure you're going to have an influx of followers.
So, yes, you can reach me on all social media sites at Danai Young, Danai, last name Young, Talk Heavy, Nay, Speak Nay. I will pop up on all social media outlets, YouTube as well. I have many videos on there. I will be starting a new YouTube channel as well.
Yes.
My first book is called My Testimony is Real. You can find it on Amazon, Nook, and Kindle. Also, I'm working on my daily motivational morning coffee book, so look for that next year sometime. And yeah, let's get it popping, y'all.
Yes.
Like I said, you just have a question, or you just want to reach out and talk, pray together. Just got some questions, feel free. My line is always open. I'll respond to every single message, email, everything. Email is speakmay@gmail.com. So let's get it. Let's make 2020 the best year of our life.
Yes, and it is so. It is so. Thank you again, honey. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Anytime. Thank you guys so much for listening and for all of your love and support. It's greatly appreciated. Please remember to rate, share, comment, and subscribe. And if you have any questions or anything you'd like me to discuss, slide in your girl's DM on Instagram. All of my social media platforms are Broken Women Win. That is Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And you can also follow my blog on my website, which is brokenwomenwin.com. Until next time, be breezy.